next organelle which is a part of endomembrane system is a vacuole. So this vacuole is a structure which is initially considered to be a empty space in a cell, but so this is a structure which is covered with a lipoproteinaceous membrane. So that membranous structure which contains various types of waste materials or reserve materials, that structure which is occupying the major portion in the cell is called as a vacuole. So the vacuoles were discovered by Spallanzani scientists, and these are generally occupying about 90% of the cell volume, and it is fluid filled. It contains fluid filled aqueous substances inside it, and as we are saying fluid filled, majority of the fluid is occupied by or made up of water. Nearly 85 or 90% of the sap or the vacuolar contents are containing water only. The fluid filled aqueous material which is present inside the cell is called, say inside the vacuole, is called as cell sap or tonoplasm. The liquid content which is present inside the vacuole is called as cell sap or the tonoplasm, and this tonoplasm or the cell sap is surrounded by a membrane. So that membrane is called as vacuolar membrane, or otherwise it is called as tonoplast. And what is the composition of vacuolar membrane? It is also made up of lipoproteinaceous structure, or it is also made up of lipids and proteins as like that of a normal biological membrane that is present in each and every plant cell. Then these vacuoles are, as I said, that they are occupying the major portion, and in that major portion fluid filled is aqueous sap is present. So that contains water as a large quantity. Apart from that water, it also contains various types of materials which are useful to the cell and which are the waste materials of the cell, like sometimes they may contain reserve materials or reserve food materials inside them, along with the waste materials, some type of ergastic substances. So along with the major portion is occupied by the water. So these are some type of materials which are present inside the vacuoles, and some materials as they are present inside them, these are also considered as the storehouse of the cell or repository of the cell. Repository is also given the same meaning, which is storing the waste materials which are formed inside the cell. So here the vacuolar membrane, which is showing the permeability to some extent, that is semi-permeable nature is there, which will allow the waste materials which are produced inside the cell by osmotic mechanism into the vacuole, and it also concerned with the osmoregulatory function. Then how many vacuoles are present in a plant cell? Generally in a young cell or in a newly formed cell, many small vacuoles are present, and these vacuoles are distributed throughout the cytoplasm, whereas nucleus is occupying the central space. Whereas in the matured cell, all these vacuoles will unite to form into a large and single vacuole, and which is present in the central position, pushing the cytoplasmic contents towards the periphery. So this type of variation can be seen in the number and position of the vacuoles in a young cell and a matured cell. Vacuoles are formed from some of the vesicles of the Golgi complex, which are concerned with the storage of food materials or which contains the ergastic substances also. Then here which type of substances are present? Is it only the waste materials or the ergastic substances? Means no, here they also contain some type of pigments also. These are called as a chromoplast pigments actually. So, but these are providing some color to the parts of a plant wherever they are present. So, those pigments are anthocyanin and anthoxanthin. Generally, anthocyanin will provide red, purple, bluish colors, whereas here it is providing nearly yellowish color. And these pigments, when they are present in the petals of the flowers, they will give multicoloration based on the type of pigment, based on the type of vacuolar pigment, and that will help in attracting the insects and cross pollination function. So, this is one important significance related to the vacuoles, and here the vacuoles are having various functions based on the metabolic functions. So, these vacuoles are categorized into various types. The first one is sap vacuoles. Sap vacuoles are the one which contains the aqueous substances or aqueous filled substances, or we can call it as a cell sap, surrounded by vacuolar membrane containing various types of ergasic substances, tannins, resins, and also various other metabolic byproducts, and the metabolic end products are also been there along with the anthocyanin pigment. Such type of vacuoles are called as a sap vacuoles, which are concerned with storage. So, we can call these sap vacuoles as the repository of the cell or storehouse of the cell. So, these are mainly present in the plant cells, and these are formed from the Golgi vacuoles, and they contains the undigested materials, and whatever the undigested materials are there which are released outside by a process called as exocytosis process, and others are called as contractile vacuoles. Generally, contractile vacuoles are present in some protists, some of the protistans like in Paramecium. So, these contractile vacuoles are mainly concerned with the maintenance of the water content in the cell. So, we call it as a osmoregulation. Very small vacuoles are present which will start collecting the additional water or the materials which are which have been formed in the cytoplasm, and those materials are released into the contractile vacuole. So, actually here a large vacuole is present in the center, which is surrounded by smaller vacuoles. These smaller vacuoles will collect all the materials which are formed inside the cell and release all that materials into the contractile vacuole, and it is acting as an storehouse. And once this contractile vacuole have been filled up, this contractile vacuole will move towards the periphery of the organelle, and that will release all that materials outside. So, by exocytosis process, such type of materials are called as a contractile vacuoles, which will help in maintaining the water content inside a cell or water content inside the unicellular organisms like in Paramecium and Euglena. So, these are also concerned with the osmoregulation function. Other type of vacuoles are food vacuoles. Food vacuoles are the one which contains food materials inside them. So, these are being digested by various other type of enzymes which are present inside the vacuoles. This type of food vacuoles are formed in examples like in amoeba. So, we know that amoeba is an irregular shaped structure. So, wherever the food material is available, so the pseudopodia will extend on both the sides of these food materials like this, and it will be converted into a food vacuole. So, likewise in the next part we can show the amoeba where the food vacuole will enter into the structure of plant body of the amoeba. This is called as a food vacuole, and this get digested. This type of vacuoles which are formed inside the organelle which contains the food matrix is called as a food vacuoles. These are formed by phagocytosis or pinocytosis. If the food material is an solid, phagocytosis by a process called as phagocytosis, and the structures are called as phagosomes, and if it is a liquid material, it is a pinocytosis and the structures are called as the pinosomes. Then the other type of vacuoles are gas vacuoles. So, gas vacuoles are the structures which are present in some examples like in bacteria. So, which are concerned with the buoyancy or maintaining the bacteria cell on the surface of the water. This type of vacuoles are covered with membrane structure which are permeable only to the gases. And these as impermeable to the water as they contain only the gases. So, they are making the structure weightless and helping in buoyancy or maintaining the bacteria or that organism to float on the surface of the waters. So, these additional gases are poisonous. Sometimes they may also contain some various types of gases which will be released outside. So, that is a way how they are concerned with floating of the plant on the surface of the water. So, such type of gas vacuoles are called as gas vacuoles. So, these are various types of vacuoles present in different types of organisms with various different types of functions.